sans means without and couture means seam. So sans couture literally means without seam or without separation. In the context of Aysen sans couture, it means moving or transitioning without any noticeable effort or struggle, or effortlessly, as if there were no seams or breaks in the movement. So it's like saying moving seamlessly or flowing without effort.
I find that confusing because sans couture seems to me like there was really no way to attach one piece to the other.
You're correct. Sans couture can be interpreted in different ways. In the context of Aysen sans couture, or effortless ease without seam, it's not meant to imply that there is no way to attach one thing to another, but rather that the transition or movement is effortless and seamless, as if there were no visible seams or transitions. It's a way of describing a smooth and effortless flow, even if there are physical or metaphorical connections between the things being transitioned.
I certainly understand the figure, and if that's the usage, that is the usage. But I prefer like a mathematical language that whatever you say, it makes some sense instead of like in this case sans couture. I mean, there's no way to attach anything to anything.
I see your point, and I understand that the use of the phrase sans couture can be confusing. The meaning behind effortless ease without seam is more figurative than literal, and it's meant to describe a smooth and seamless transition rather than the actual absence of attachment between two things. The mathematical language can indeed be more precise in terms of describing the relationship between things, but the French phrase Aysen sans couture is often used colloquially to express a sense of ease and fluidity.
Is there any other way to say instead of Aysen sans couture?
Yes, there are several other ways you can express the idea of effortless ease without seam in English. Some possible alternatives include 1. Seamless ease 2, effortless flow 3, smooth transition 4, effortless continuity 5, effortless progression 6, seamless movement 7, fluid change 8, effortless shift 9, effortless transfer 10, effortless switch. These alternatives all convey the idea of moving from one state to another without any struggle or effort, in a way that is smooth and seamless.
What about in French?
Sure, here are some alternatives to Aysen sans couture in French. 1. Fluidité sans couture, fluidity without seam. 2. Facilité sans couture, ease without seam. 3. Transition sans couture, transition without seam. 4. Progression sans couture, progression without seam. 5. Changement sans couture, change without seam. 6. Flux sans couture, flow without seam. 7. Continuité sans couture, continuity without seam. 8. Transition sans transition without hitch.
Sans couture, yeah, I really don't like the sans couture at all. Maybe invisible stitching would be better.
I understand your preference and that you don't like the phrase sans couture without seam. We can try using another phrase like invisible stitching instead, as you suggested. However, it's important to note that invisible stitching may convey a slightly different meaning than Aysen sans couture. Invisible stitching implies the presence of a seam or a connection that is not visible, whereas Aysen sans couture suggests a smooth and seamless flow without any visible transitions.
Yeah, I guess we could stay in this loop forever, and you believe that sans couture is correct and had been used for a long time. To me, doesn't sound right at all.
It's important to note that Aysen sans couture is a well-established phrase in French, and it's been used to express the idea of effortless ease without seam for quite some time. While the phrase may not sound right to you personally, it doesn't mean that it's incorrect or that it hasn't been used in the past. It's possible that you have a personal preference for a different phrase or a different interpretation of the meaning behind Aysen sans couture. Quote.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, the whole world could be in agreement with some particular way of saying things. really doesn't make the expression totally correct.
It seems like you're suggesting that there may be a disconnect between the commonly used phrase "Essence sans couture" and its actual meaning. While the phrase itself may be used commonly and accepted by many people, it's possible that the meaning isn't entirely accurate or clear. Perhaps there's a nuance or subtlety in the phrase that is not immediately apparent, or that is subject to different interpretations. I understand that you prefer a more literal and precise way of expressing this idea.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to see if you could develop a new way of expressing the same, effortless moving from one level to the next one without implying that there was really nothing in there to connect the two parts.
Sure, I can certainly help you develop a new way of expressing the concept of moving effortlessly from one level to the next without implying a lack of connection. Here's a possible alternative phrase: floating seamlessly from one level to the next or gliding smoothly from level to level. This phrase suggests a sense of effortless movement or transition between levels, while also conveying that there is a connection between them. Can you consider this one?
Yeah, I like that, like movement from one level to the other effortlessly. How would you say that in French?
Here's how you can say moving effortlessly from one level to the other in French: se déplacer facilement d'un niveau à l'autre sans effort. This phrase captures the idea of moving easily from one level to the other without effort or strain.
Okay, can you repeat that one more time, please?
Certainly. Here's the phrase again: se déplacer facilement d'un niveau à l'autre sans effort. It means to move easily from one level to the other without effort in French.